Prof, let me quickly take you to the Francophone African countries, Niger, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, and Gabon. What is actually causing these military interventions?
You know, the so-called Francophone countries must be understood in the context of history.
Okay.
You remember in the 1950s, late 50s, after Charles de Gaulle became the president of France, and ultimately the process of decolonization started in French colonies. The French were very reluctant, and you remember the yes and no votes. And the countries that rejected the French approach to retain colonization, such as Algeria with Ahmed Ben Bella, Guinea with Ahmed Sékou Touré, and Mali with Modibo Keïta, were punished by the French. The remaining countries regained what I call flag independence, and have remained under the tutelage of France for all these years. And even as I speak, their currency is controlled from France. The leaders themselves are French acolytes. And I think there is an awakening. The younger leaders in those countries that you've mentioned, such as Guinea, Burkina, Niger, Gabon, are beginning to realize that what they have is a crown without the jewels. And they are midwifing what I call a revolution, because the people are disempowered. You remember Chairman Mao Zedong of China said many years ago that power springs from the barrel of the gun. But I'm using that particular statement very carefully. It is only the men and women in arms that are capable of liberating Africa from the type of leaders that we have in those countries. And I therefore understand what is happening in Niger, Burkina, Guinea, and Gabon as the beginning of a revolution. Kwame Nkrumah said that neo-colonialism is the last stage of imperialism and the most dangerous. And we are in that very dangerous space where you hear the arrogance of the French president saying, I'm not going to leave your country. Can you believe it? That the leader of a foreign country telling another country, I'm not going to leave your country, I'm going to have my troops there, I'm going to have my ambassador there. That is arrogance at its highest point. And it is a testament to the French attitude.
Now, if you look at the whole situation, it looks that it's not going to end anytime soon. It started from Guinea, moved on to Burkina to Niger, and now it's Gabon. Others are predicting, even myself, we've said that Senegal, Cameroon, and other Francophone countries are sitting on a time bomb. Are they going to align to wean themselves completely from the French administration?
You know, and it should not end. In my view, it should continue. All the French colonies should be properly decolonized. And I hope that those who are in Cameroon, in Togo, in Benin, in La Côte d'Ivoire, and in Senegal are watching this very keenly. Because if we don't deal the French blow, that will send a clear message to them that their neo-colonial approaches are not wanted in Africa, then they'll continue to manipulate the continent and will delay our total liberation as a people. So I hope that the young men and women in those countries that we've mentioned and which have not been decolonized will move very quickly and do what they need to do so that we can start the proper debate of uniting Africa as was desired by our forefathers and as we ourselves now desire.
All right, saying that these countries need to be decolonized, are you therefore suggesting that one way or the other you support the military interventions so that?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I do. And You know, there is this idea, and you remember the Malabo Declaration of 2022 by African heads of state in Equatorial Guinea against terrorism and unconstitutional changes of power. But when you look at the regimes that we are talking about in the countries that you've mentioned, they come into power through sham elections, elections that are choreographed from France, elections that are won through rigging and bribery. So even their occupation of power itself is illegitimate. And some of them owe allegiance to Paris rather than to their people. And to the extent that the civilians cannot guarantee a change of government, what is wrong if our men and women in military intervene for a short time for the purpose of preparing us to go into a different phase where we can improve governance? And I'm very reluctant nowadays to use the word democracy, because democracy has been abused. Democracy is a word that is handed down to us by Europe and America and all these conceptual Western countries. And in their mind, it means periodic elections which they come and monitor and tell us that we have done a good job. And it means that we have political parties. And I think, as John Henry Clark once said, these governance systems that we inherited from our colonizers must now be re-examined. I think Africa must now ask itself, in different countries, what are the governance systems that we can come up with which respond to our unique circumstances?
We've had series of these problems over and over again, and then ECOWAS come in to say that they want to send military to Niger to be able to stop what is going on over there. To the best of your knowledge, as a huge opinion person in our continent, what do you think about that position of ECOWAS, led by Tinubu of Nigeria?
You know, when I listen to the current chair of ECOWAS, President Tinubu of Nigeria, and the leaders threatening fire and brimstone, I sympathize with them. I sympathize with them because they are, in effect, just trying to protect their positions. ECOWAS must understand the circumstances that have led to the coups in Burkina. They must understand what has led to the changes in Niger. They must understand what led to the changes in Guinea and in Mali, and what will lead to changes in other countries. And having understood those circumstances, they should be very reluctant to say what they have said. And you can see how they have confused themselves because they don't understand the situation. At one time, the military heads were to meet in Accra, Ghana. At one time, they threatened intervention. If they threaten intervention to reinstate the Nigerian President Bazoum, the military leaders in that country said, we are going to kill him. And they would. Then who will they restore? ECOWAS must, in the nature of circumstances, understand what is on the ground. And I'm very happy the way the Nigerians came out in the streets. I'm very happy the way the Burkinabe administration came out. I'm very happy the way the Malian administration came out and the Guinean said, you attack Niger and we are going to fight to the last man and woman.